right. Good morning and welcome to the AT&T Small Business Success Series seminar. I'm Stacy Garman. I'm the Strategic Engagement Director here with the Greater North Fulton Chamber. There are so many options for small businesses when it comes to insurance and financial planning, and I'm looking forward to learning more as we hear from our experts today. Reminder, since this is a Zoom call, we are in webinar mode, so everyone has been muted upon entry. If you have a question or a comment, I encourage you to use the Q&A feature down on the lower panel of your screen. We will get to as many questions at the end of the presentation as time allows. First, I would like to recognize our Small Business Success Series naming sponsor, AT&T. Joining us today is Brad Saper. Brad, would you like to say a few words on AT&T's behalf?
I'd love to. Thank you, Stacy, and good morning, everyone. AT&T is proud to be a sponsor of the Small Business Success Series and all we're doing to enable the success of small businesses throughout Fulton County and the state of Georgia. I'm Brad Saper. I'm the Regional Sales Director for AT&T's fiber team, and my team has responsibility for fiber deployment and the sale of fiber-based high-speed data services to businesses throughout the state of Georgia. This year, AT&T is making a significant investment, deploying fiber to over 101,000 new office buildings, many of them serving small businesses. This is adding to the more than 5.8 million miles of fiber optic high-speed infrastructure across the state, serving 106,000 businesses in Georgia and 32,000 plus businesses in Atlanta. Earlier this year, AT&T made big news when we dropped the price of our AT&T Business Fiber service, which is our internet service geared towards small to medium-sized businesses, by over 50%. My contact information is up on the screen, and my team and I would love to discuss how we can bring fiber to your office, help increase your productivity, save you money, or just share some innovative ideas about how other businesses are leveraging technology to accelerate their success. Please give me a call or shoot me an email. Thanks for the time and enjoy today's session.
Great. Thank you, Brad. We are so appreciative of AT&T's continued support of the North Fulton business community and of our chamber. We also have two event sponsors today. Our first sponsor is Steve Hyde with South State Bank. You may also know them as Center State Bank. They are recently going through a name change, so we really appreciate Steve and South State's support of this webinar as well. And now I would like to introduce our first presenter and also one of our event sponsors, Todd Gordon and Matt McCune with CBiz Business Benefits and Insurance. With more than 40 years of a combined experience as a benefits and insurance consultants, Todd and Matt are responsible for building client relationships and helping small business owners to optimize their employee and executive benefit insurance programs. They work with businesses of all sizes and industries with areas of expertise in education and nonprofit organizations, professional and financial services, and technology firms. Whether fully insured, level funded, self-insured, or part of a captive, Todd and the CBiz team has a solution for your business. Matt and Todd, thank you for sponsoring today's webinar and lending us your expertise. I'm going to let you take it from here.
Thank you, Stacy. Good morning, everyone. My name is Matt McCown. I'm with CBiz Insurance here in Alpharetta, and I've had the privilege of being involved with the chamber since 2009. I'm going to spend a few minutes talking about the commercial property and casualty insurance piece of the insurance, and my business partner, Todd Gordon, is going to follow talking about employee benefits. So we realize there are many types of insurance policies, some of which are required when operating a business, the most common being workers' comp. Workers' comp in the state of Georgia, if you have 3 or more full-time, seasonal, or part-time employees, is a requirement. Another requirement, if you have an office lease or enter into third-party contracts, is general liability. Those are pretty common. There's a few that I want to talk about today that you may not be aware of, but we've certainly seen an uptick in claim activity the last 12 to 18 months. Employment practices liability. This coverage is designed to protect you from claims of discrimination, wrongful termination, sexual harassment, retaliation, and other types of inappropriate workforce conduct. with some of the downsizing that's taken place in COVID, some of the reductions in force are turning into employment practices claims, and many clients or prospects that we visit with have not properly addressed or taken advantage of this policy. Another one that is getting a lot of buzz right now, and I'm sure you're hearing, is cyber liability. Cyber thieves are getting more active than ever, and they're getting smarter. Cyber insurance can help your business respond to a data breach or assist with the cost of alerting public and restoring your reputation after a breach. Another one, if you are in the business of providing a professional service to others, is professional liability or errors and omissions. Sometimes folks think that just because they have a general liability policy, the professional liability or E&O is included, and that's not the case, as this coverage is typically excluded in most general liability policies. One of the things that you can do is assessing your risk is to consider what types of accidents, natural disasters, lawsuits that could damage your business and typically put you out of business. These are the insurance policies that should be given priority, as every industry is different. So are the risks with your business. Working with a reputable agent and making sure that you're working with a top-rated insurance carrier is also critical. When considering an agent, I would recommend that you seek out referrals from others in your industry. Your networking groups or even the chamber is a good resource for determining who is a qualified and reputable agent. When it comes to insurance carriers and considering those, we would recommend that you check the AM Best rating. AM Best is a assigns credit ratings that assess an insurance company's creditworthiness, which can refer to the likelihood that that company will default on its obligations and be able to pay claims if there is a catastrophic type of event. One of the most important things that I think is really prioritizing coverage over cost. I know budget's tight and every penny counts. However, it's important to realize that while business insurance is an added expense, it plays a crucial role in protecting your business from serious financial damage. While it can be tempting to pick the cheapest policy to save a few $100s on your premium, it could actually end up costing you significantly more if a claim is not covered. What affects your cost and premium, and what can you do? Beyond your industry's risk, you need to understand what can affect those premiums. Your location, loss experience, driving records of your employees, and insurance score could all impact how premiums are calculated. While some of these factors are beyond your control, there are some steps that you can take to keep your premiums down. Considering higher deductibles is one option. Improving or implementing security systems, fire sprinkler systems are some of the ones that typically involve a little more out-of-pocket cost. But implementing an employee safety program and driving training programs are a few measures that are relatively inexpensive and should be available at the assistance of your agent to help implement. Going back to cyber liability, if you're dealing with sensitive customer data, it's important to maintain robust security protocols to reduce your exposure to cybercrime. Your agent should be able to help you identify problem areas so that you can institute a program that works best for your business. The last thing you can do is good housekeeping. Depending if you've got a manufacturing plant, a warehouse, or even an office, create a safe work environment that helps reduce the chance of on-the-job injury and fewer work comp claims, which means lowering your work comp premium. Finally, don't hesitate to ask for help. Your agent should review your coverage on an annual basis. And it can be tempting to see a policy renewal, just make the payment and let it roll. You've got a lot on your agenda, and reviewing the insurance policy may not be a high priority, but it's in your best interest to sit down and mathematically review the cost and coverage on an annual basis. At this meeting, you should be discussing changes in your industry, adjustments to your business model, and even rate changes that are taking place in the insurance marketplace. Your agent should be meeting with you at minimum once a year, and if they're not, it may be time to consider making a change in agency. I know we'll have time for questions at the end. Please find my contact information below. If we can help answer any questions or further discuss, we'd be more than happy to. Thank you for your time today, and thank you for your investment in the chamber. Todd?
Thanks, Matt. Appreciate that. Good morning, everybody, and thanks for joining us on the webinar this morning. As Debbie introduced, my name is Todd Gordon. I've actually been a member of the Chamber of Commerce since 1997. It seems like forever ago, but it's been a great Chamber of Commerce. And truly, I started out as a small business. We had our own benefits agency in Dunwoody, and the Chamber was in my neighborhood. And I joined and got actively involved, and I've been involved ever since. And it's truly led to much of my career success is owed to this Chamber of Commerce. So I thank everybody for that. And then I encourage you as Chamber members to get involved and stay involved, because truly it has great staying power from growing your business perspective. Matt talked a little bit about the insurance that covers stuff. I always refer to the two sides of the insurance industry as those who insure your stuff, your cars, your vehicles, your buildings, etc. And then I focus in on the people side. We take care of your employees, and we do that through comprehensive employee benefits programs. And in today's world, what does employee benefits mean? Traditionally, when people think about employee benefits, they're thinking in terms of your medical insurance, your dental and vision insurance. But it's grown and it's expanded even further than that. It now includes everything from short-term disability insurance, long-term disability, basic life insurance and accidental death and dismemberment, wellness programs, FSA, flexible spending accounts, HSAs, health savings accounts. And then even more so, we're now into voluntary benefits. We're offering coverages that a business doesn't necessarily pay for, but it makes available to its employees to really offer a comprehensive program. Things like accident insurance, cancer insurance, critical illness, and hospital indemnity. Those are all considered part of your employee benefits. Focusing in a little bit on the health insurance piece of employee benefits, there's even different types of health insurance that can be offered to your employees in today's world. We all are familiar with the Affordable Care Act, which has been around for quite some time now. And what we refer to as ACA plans, some people refer to them still as Obamacare, but really they're ACA plans. Those plans are set up in such a way that they are what are called community rated. When you've got a business with less than 50 employees, your rates are based on really three things. They're based on the ages of your employees, the ages of their dependents, and where you're geographically located. No risk factors are taken into consideration when looking at rates for your health insurance when you're on an ACA plan. It's as simple as that. So if your business and the business next door have the same demographics, and you're in the same zip code, then your rates should be identical. There is no variation. But we've expanded in the employee benefits world with medical programs because we now offer programs that are what are called level funded or balanced funded, as well as self-insured programs. And those programs take into account risk rating. We can look at your employees, we can look at the industry that you're in. What type of work do your employees do? What's the health of your employees and their dependents who are covered on the plan? What's their utilization? If you've got a young, healthy population, then you should be able to pay less for your employee benefits than you would on an ACA traditional plan. And we've got great programs that allow us to look at those in different ways to figure out what is the most cost-effective way to offer a comprehensive employee benefits program while still providing great high-quality benefits to your employees. So when thinking about how do you design your employee benefits program, you really want to establish your goals first. The first thing you need to think about is, does your company have an organizational strategy? What's your culture and vision around benefits? Do your company's organizational strategy and culture align with what your benefits are offering? If your employees were to say, well, we're an altruistic company and we want to take care of our employees, when the employees review their employee benefit guide each year, do they feel that that's what's happening within your company? If not, then maybe that's something we need to look at and making sure that we align those benefits along with your vision. Why are you offering benefits? Big question. Is it because you have to? Under 50 employees, the Affordable Care Act does not mandate that you offer employee benefits. So generally for small businesses, it's the employer's choice. They're deciding to be altruistic and offer an employee benefits program. But when you do that, you also have to make sure that you're remaining in compliance, because there's a lot of things with regards to compliance, and I'll talk about that in a moment. Also, do you use your employee benefits program to recruit, to retain, and potentially reward your employees? It's a great tool that as you're trying to grow your business, especially in a tight job market like we have today, it's really important to be able to offer that comprehensive employee benefit program. You also have to look at your financials. What can your company afford? Can you be fiscally responsible with a company while still offering quality benefits to your employees? And can your employees afford what it is that you're offering to them so that they feel that there is value there for them and their families as well? I mentioned compliance a moment ago. Compliance is really, really important in today's world. We live in a litigious society and people get sued all the time. The IRS, the Department of Labor are all looking at what companies are doing when it comes to their employee benefits. Depending on the size of your company, there's many different rules and laws for compliance. Things as simple as Section 125, which allows for the pre-tax withholding of employee paid benefits. Non-discrimination rules, what you can do for all employees and what you can do for some employees. The Affordable Care Act, COBRA, which is if you've got more than 20 employees, what you have to offer to employees who no longer are your employees when they leave the company. HIPAA privacy is another big compliance area. Are your records being kept properly? Are you following all of the HIPAA guidelines to make sure that you're protecting the private information of your employees? That's something really to be focusing on. It's so, so important. I know Matt talked about working with a good agent. You know, one of the things we always talk about is we're benefits consultants much more so than insurance agents. We don't just want to sell you an insurance policy. We really want you to be able to have your employees understand what it is that you're offering to them, but also for you as a business owner to understand what you're making available. Look for a partner, not a salesperson. Look for somebody that's got national resources available to them, that has a vision to see the bigger picture. Communicate with you in a way that's understandable, not just talking insurance speak. It's so, so important. Technology is another area that we feel is very important when it comes to your employee benefits. We all work off of our cell phones. We're all working remotely these days. Technology is such an important part of what we do. Are you still filling out paper forms for your employee benefits? There are so many different benefits administration systems, online and mobile resources available to you and your employees that there's no need to use paper anymore today. In communication, to me, communication and employee education is probably one of the most important things you can do when it comes to your employee benefits. Just offering benefits isn't enough. Your employees need to understand what benefits are and how they can use them. Clear, concise communication materials and employee education is a key component to any effective employee benefits program. Deborah, if you'll switch to the next slide, Stacy asked me to also mention to you all something that the Georgia Chamber of Commerce is offering to all chamber members of the North Fulton Chamber of Commerce and all of our chambers throughout the entire state of Georgia. And it's called the Georgia SMART program. What is SMART? Like you see on the screen there, it's a small group, multiple employer, ASO rated trust. It's a program that the Georgia Chamber of Commerce has put together for small businesses to band together to be able to buy their health insurance at hopefully discounted rates from what you can get on the open market. How are they able to do this? Anthem, which is the old Blue Cross Blue Shield, has entered into a partnership with the Georgia Chambers in order to be able to offer risk-rated plans to all chamber members. So if you are an active member of this Chamber of Commerce, then you have access to this program. You can talk to your existing agent about this. You can talk to myself or anybody who's a chamber member, because we have several individuals within our Chamber of Commerce who are able to bring you this Chamber SMART program. There's about 20 different medical plans available, as well as multiple dental and vision plans, short-term, long-term disability, and group life insurance, all at a discount because you're a chamber member. When you bundle these ancillary lines, the dental, vision, et cetera, with your medical, there are reductions on your medical insurance premiums as well. So you get the value of bundling everything together. And for your employees, the experience is simple. They get one insurance ID card for all of their coverage. So who can participate? Like I said, if you're a member in good standing with the Chamber of Commerce, you've got 2 to 50 employees, and your business is domiciled in the state of Georgia, then you're eligible to participate in the Georgia Chamber program. Happy to talk about this or any of the other employee benefits areas that I mentioned earlier, either as part of this conversation or at another time when we're able to get together in person, or certainly reach out via phone or email. And thanks again for the Chamber for putting this program on. I've loved being a member of the Chamber of Commerce and plan on being one for a long time to come. And again, we look forward to working with you in the future. Thanks so much.
Thank you, Matt and Todd. I really appreciate it. I also appreciate you adding in the Georgia SMART plan. If you're not familiar with that, I would recommend that you find out a little bit more about that. 10% of GNFCC members have the Georgia Smart Plan. So it obviously works really well for our small businesses in our area. Our next presenter is Mark Smith with Magnolia Financial Group. Mark has over 20 years of experience seeking sound financial strategies for families, individuals, and businesses. As an independent financial professional, Mark helps clients put their finger on financial needs, goals, and dreams, and then designs a plan to help work towards those goals. He also specializes in wealth distribution planning for people in or close to retirement, giving strategic advice for those seeking to turn 401ks, IRAs, and other assets into an income stream for life. Mark, thank you for joining us today, and I'll let you take it from here.
Stacy, thank you for having us. We're honored to be part of today's event and the chamber. Magnolia Financial Group is an independent financial planning firm based in downtown Roswell. I've been in the business 27 years. My business partner, Trent Adams, has been at it for about 17 years. We work with clients. We work for our clients, not for a bank or an insurance company. We are 100% independent. And while we work with insurance and investment products, we never lead with them. We feel that the financial planning component is at the heart of everything that we do. And without a plan, how do individuals or business owners really know where they're going? Our process utilizes proven, time-tested methods to help our clients plan for what matters most to them. One of the processes that we've refined is a work optional lifestyle, helping clients. Retirement is something that is not often being done as often. 30 years ago, people were working for a company for 30 years, got a gold watch, a pension, retired, and that was it. Now people are living longer, transitioning, semi-retiring, and so people want a work optional lifestyle. We find that our clients, our older clients that stay engaged doing something, live fuller, longer, healthier lives. We also work with a lot of business owners in helping them protect what usually is their most valuable asset, whether it's through an orderly transfer or sale of a business, or how to phase out of that business and transition to new ownership. We also help with the transfer from wealth accumulation to the distribution phase. And this is important. The wealth accumulation phase is a little bit easier from the standpoint, it's all about average rates of return. Whereas in the distribution phase, it can become very important, paying attention to the sequence of return risk. What do I mean by that? If you retired in 1999 and started drawing income from your portfolio, you retired into a 3-year bear market. And that's never a good thing in retirement. So it's important to have a plan and a strategy for how you're going to start taking distributions. We also, there's a lot of talk going on in Washington now about how do we transfer wealth from one generation to the next. When I started in the business in '94, the estate tax exemption was $600,000 per person. So if you had a couple that had a home, 401k, maybe owned a business, owned some life insurance, pretty quickly you got up over that $600,000 number. And we help clients stay. In today's market, it's 11 million per person. Washington is proposing reducing that number back down to somewhere in the $3.5 to $4 million range. So with a business, an illiquid asset, it's important to have a plan for how is that going to be dealt with transferring from one generation to the next. One of the slides, if you look, you see on the left, the financial planning pyramid. We use this to really talk about the basic building blocks. When you do a financial plan, it's important to have a solid foundation. It's just like building a house. You wouldn't start with putting up the walls, then putting the roof on, and then trying to slide the foundation in. Same thing applies to financial and business planning. It's important to address the risks that are in play. What if somebody dies prematurely? What if somebody becomes disabled? What if a major health situation occurs? So it's important to take care of the building blocks, and we call that planning ahead. Then you can move up the pyramid into cash management, investing for retirement, investing for purchasing new equipment for a business, and then ultimately into the asset management role. On the right side is our services tree for Magnolia Financial, and it kind of covers all the different areas that we help clients. A lot of times when clients come to us, they may only need help with one or two items within our tree and our service portfolio. But when someone engages with us, they grow into the process and into the plan. Our process is something that you grow into, not out of. So want to thank you again for time. I'm going to leave time for some of the other presenters, and we'll be around for questions after. Thanks so much.
Great. Thank you, Mark. I appreciate you and Trent putting that together for us. Our final presenter for today is Joe Avina with U.S. Health Advisors. Joe provides affordable health coverage options to individuals, families, and small business owners. Licensed in 32 states, Joe and his team shop all of the plans that are both on and off the marketplace. They help their clients decipher their health coverage needs, research all the relevant options available, construct solutions that fit their needs, and educate their clients. Joe, thanks for joining us today.
Well, good morning, everyone, and thank you very much for inviting me to this. I've been in the business for a little over 4.5 years. My wife and I were a team. We also have a team of agents. And like you said, we're licensed in over 32 states nationwide. When it comes to the different options that are available, most people they think they can do it themselves. They go online, they put their information in. What they don't know is it's typically a landing page, and before you know it, they're getting bombarded with just thousands of calls and emails and text messages. And in many cases, they just get the first person they talk to, or they just want to get it over with, and they want to go with the cheapest plan available. And I want to point out something that Matt said. What we focus on is the value of the coverage over the cost of the plan, because there are so many different plan options. It's not one size fits all. My wife and I, we have a 4-step approach. It's called survey, study, create, and coach. So under the survey side, we get to know our customers, our clients. We dive into their health. What is it they want the coverage to do for them? Okay, everybody's health is different. And then after we have that discovery call, we go back and we study. We research the different options that are available to you. Unfortunately, every state is different. Okay, sometimes it's different from county to county what plans are available to you. We come back, we gather up that information, we put it, and we create an easy to understand format and present it to our clients. And then we help coach and educate them on those options, so that ultimately the decision, it's not ours, it's theirs. They're making a decision that they're comfortable with. They understand the plan option. They know how it's going to work for them and their family members when they need it to. And there are many different options are available. There are private plan options that are not available online. Many of the private plan options, you can't just search for them. They have to be through an appointed agent with that insurance company. And those plans can offer much better coverage than marketplace plans. However, they have an underwriting contingency. So they're not for everybody. But for people that are healthy enough to qualify, they are able to get better coverage for less. Many of those plans have $0 co-pays, access to some of the nation's largest PPO networks. There are also the ACA plan options, which stands for Affordable Care Act. Okay, those are available online, and you can search for them yourself, but sometimes it can be very confusing trying to understand the different plan options. What is a copay? What is a deductible? What is a max out of pocket? How does all that play into that plan option? And those ACA plans, some important things regarding those. They do come with 10 essential health benefits. Okay, they also have guaranteed coverage, which is one of the mandates through the Affordable Care Act, which means they're not going to decline you because of your health. So they have no pre-existing condition exclusions. Unlike some private plans, if you're interested in a private plan, make sure that agent is communicating what does it cover, what doesn't it cover. Many private plans do have some exclusions for existing conditions. It just depends. They're all different. The marketplace plans, depending on the plan option you're looking at, they may come with a high deductible and max out of pocket. Sometimes if you're trying to keep your costs down, that may be a good option. They also have HSA options. And when regards to the ACA, they're only available at certain times of the year. Private plans are available pretty much every day of the year. Marketplace plans, they're only available during enrollment periods or if you have a qualifying event. Outside of those two options, there's also short-term policies. Those are designed to fill the gap, okay? Maybe you've been without coverage for a while, you're trying to get coverage. The ACA does not have an enrollment period. You don't qualify for an underwritten plan. A short-term plan may be the best and only option that's available to you at that time, just to bridge that gap until you can get to that next open enrollment. Some of the things that short-term policies do have with them is they have a specified end date. So if you're looking at a short-term plan, make sure the agent that you're working with is communicating this information to you. You know, how long does this coverage last? That's important to know. Many of the short-term policies do have fixed deductibles and very few options. And as a good thing, sometimes the short-term plans are less expensive than the ACA plans as well. But that's it for how I can help individuals and families and some small business owners. So I'm going to go ahead and turn it back over to you and open it up for questions.
Great. Thank you, Joe. If anybody has any questions, please use the chat feature or the Q&A feature, and we will get to those questions now. Todd, we have a question. Oh, hey, but we might want to answer it for everybody.
I'll answer for
what is
everybody.
the opinion of low-cost MEC plans?
Certainly. So the question, so what is an MEC plan to start with? So MEC is an acronym that stands for Minimum Essential Coverage. So as part of the Affordable Care Act, one of the components of the ACA is that insurance plans must offer minimum essential coverage. That's that preventive health care, certain preventive health care options, your annual physical, immunizations, for children, some basic dental and vision, things like that. So all of that is included. Those are the preventive benefits that in traditional health plans are covered at no cost. But some individuals, some businesses feel that they can't afford to offer the traditional health insurance, but they can offer something that is a MEC plan that just provides simply that basic component of what the ACA requires to have available. Have I written MEC plans? Absolutely. When do we write MEC plans? Really in very specific situations. If you've got a business owner who wants to be able to do something for their employees, but either their employees can't afford it, or the business might not be able to afford it. Businesses, as I mentioned earlier, under 50 employees aren't mandated to offer coverage. So a perfect example of a business that I have that is using a MEC plan is a daycare facility, a Montessori school. They wanted to do something for their employees, but the employees, really couldn't afford it based on what their earnings are. So the business owner said, we're going to provide everybody with this MEC plan so that they at least get their basic benefits. It's not the best option, but it is certainly an option that is available.
Great. If we have any other questions, we have a few minutes for the group. I know insurance can be complicated. And a lot of times it's easier to talk directly with your advisors and financial planners to get the details on those. As every chamber member knows, we have a directory on gnfcc.com where you can find contact information for all of these great presenters and also other members of our chamber. Okay, the question is your preference of high or low deductibles, if anybody wants to take that.
Yes. Yes, and it's a great question, Hal. Do I prefer high deductible or low deductible plans? It really depends on each individual situation. A lot of people, nobody likes, as an individual, if you ask most employees, do they want to have a high deductible or a low deductible, they would say they want to have a low deductible. But it's more than just your deductible on your insurance benefits, because you have to look at what is the deductible, what is the co-insurance if it's there, are there co-pays available, what is the deductible going towards? Is it a high deductible health plan that has an HSA attached to it? And so you can use high deductible plans can be good for people who don't go to the doctor at all, because it gives them catastrophic coverage, a lot of what Joseph was talking about. And it gives them the opportunity to put dollars away for a catastrophic event that they can contribute to a health savings account. On the flip side, you might have somebody that is a very high-end user, has high claims and costs and things like that. They might choose to use a high deductible plan because it's the lowest premium cost. And so when you weigh you have to weigh the balance of what your premium cost versus your out-of-pocket exposure and expenses to determine what is best. I like both. I use both. It really depends on the individual situation. Great question, though.
Yep. Mark, it looks like we have a question for you. How do you work with younger professionals who may not think they need certain benefits until they're older, or even people that are older? We may not know what certain benefits we need and what we should be saving for. Can you speak to that? Wait, you're on mute. Yeah.
Sure. We work with both younger and older, and we have programs built for both. A lot of times younger, starting in a new career, making great income, but really don't have a lot of assets and don't have a very complicated situation. We have programs to help young professionals as well attain our services. And then for older clients, or clients that are more mature in their work phase, we have programs for that as well. So we're fully transparent with how we charge for our services, whether it's asset-based or whether it's flat fee. So does that answer the question?
I think so. It's also,
Yeah.
I think as my generation is getting a little older, it's also, you can't replace time over money. So you always want to start investing early, which is hard when you're a young professional to think about doing that.
I think Trent might want to add something if he could.
I'll use my personal situation as an example, and it's not the best example. Had I not been insured early in my life, in my early 20s, I wouldn't be eligible for any additional insurance today. You know, I've had a cancer history, and I can't get any more life insurance, any more disability insurance, anything like that. So had I not been in this industry, I wouldn't have had it. You know, we just practiced what we preached when I started my career. So having those types of things just as a baseline and a foundation, like Marcus talked about, is so important because, you know, as I've aged, and as I've got children and a wife now, I wouldn't have had protection for them and had that financial side taken care of. I had a very major surgery that could have taken my life. So at minimum, that at least let the emotional side or the financial side be taken care of, so I could focus on the emotional side with my family. So, you know, you're never too young to start saving. You're never too young to make sure that you're covered, because, you know, we're not promised tomorrow. So, you know, it's fun to spend money. I prefer to spend money than save money. I think everybody would, but having these things in place and making sure that you're protected, not only now, but for the future, is very important.
Great, thank you. Our next question, why do prices vary for some prescription medications? When should I pay cash and when should I use my insurance? As the cost of medications are going up, I'm sure this is hot on everyone's mind. If someone would like to take that.
Sure. Happy to answer it. So why do prices vary? So insurance companies and pharmacy benefit managers have contracts with pharmaceutical manufacturers. And so everybody, while the base rate of a prescription may be the same from the manufacturer's perspective, when they negotiate costs with pharmacies, with insurance carriers, there's a great deal of fluctuation. You could have a CVS, a Walgreens, and a Publix all on the same corner. And if you went to fill the same prescription in each of those pharmacies, I would almost guarantee you that you would pay a different amount at each location. And that all has to do with contract negotiation and what they do. It also has to do with the plan of insurance that you're on. Traditional fully insured plans versus self-funded plans have different ways of managing pharmacy costs. I always tell people, check with each of your pharmacies. It also has to do, for like my plan that I'm covered on, our pharmacy coverage is through CVS Caremark. And so that if I go to Caremark, to CVS, I'm going to pay less for my prescriptions because they've got a lower negotiated rate than what they do at Walgreens. There are discount cards out there that you can certainly use. Part of the question is, when should you pay cash and when should you use your insurance? That's really a personal choice. It just depends on the situation. Because if you can get it cheaper or less expensive, I don't like the word cheap, but if you can get it less expensively paying cash, then it may make sense for you. However, you're not going to get credit towards your out-of-pocket maximum on your health insurance program. So our health insurance programs all have what's called an out-of-pocket maximum, the most we're going to pay in any calendar year in a catastrophic situation. If you choose to pay cash for a prescription, then that's not going to get credited towards that out-of-pocket maximum. So you're just making a conscientious choice for that. I'll use an example that happened to me this week. I've got a medication that one of my kids takes. Last year, we had a prior authorization with our insurance carrier. They covered it. We paid our copays for it. No problems whatsoever. That prior authorization expired. We went to go refill the prescription and they denied the prior authorization this year. No rhyme or reason, nothing has changed. Something in the back, in the black box, if you will, of insurance has changed that they no longer want to cover that medication. The manufacturer of that prescription has a discount card that basically says, even if I have insurance, I can pay $75 a month cash and get that prescription filled for my daughter. I'm choosing to pay the $75 rather than fight with the insurance company to deal with getting the medication covered. It's not worth my time, the hassle, et cetera, to be able to deal with that. So that was a personal choice that I'm making, but I know those dollars are not going to go towards my out-of-pocket maximum. It all depends on the individual situation. All good questions, Al.
I know you mentioned HSA accounts. Are there advantages or disadvantages for employers offering that?
So there are definitely advantages, and there's really no disadvantage other than the administrative piece of it, because it's another component of your benefits program, but it's very easy to administer and maintain. Many of the insurance companies have their own administration and banks that they use, or you can use an outside vendor. To me, it's a great advantage. I think Mark would probably agree that an HSA is another feather, if you will, in your cap of ways to invest your dollars smartly. That it's another pre-tax advantaged savings program where you can put money away to be able to use either today towards your healthcare costs on a pre-tax basis, or later on down the road, because you can use your HSA dollars to cover long-term care insurance premiums. You can also use it towards any qualified medical expenses anytime down the road. So it's certainly something that it's your money, that once you put it in that HSA account, it's always yours. Even if you leave employment with your current employer, those are always your dollars to be able to use in the future.
Great. Matt, it looks like we have a question for you. How is the commercial insurance industry changing and adapting to the changing workforce with employees working remote? And if an employee is working remote at their home, are they still covered under workers' compensation if they become ill due to a work-related situation?
No, great question. Thank you. And I always like to compare the insurance industry to a slow-moving battleship. It takes a long time, and as much as we'd like to be proactive, sometimes we are a bit reactive. And this is one of the cases that we're experiencing with COVID and the virus that I think has really expedited many organizations' plans to have employees work remotely. To answer the question, individuals that are working remotely in their home, yes, they are covered for any work-related injury. Insurance companies in the past, if you've filled out or worked with a workers' comp application, you're required to list the locations of your offices. We are taking that a step further, and we are also requesting the residence or the offices that the employees are working at so that they can be covered. If there's any issues, it takes the gray area out. The other challenge that insurance companies are trying to wrap their head around right now is, as we see when employees are going remote, remote, depending on their personal situation, may not be their home down the street. You've got families that are packing up and moving to Florida, and they've got a second home. So they're going to work down in Florida, for 3 months. And many did in this situation during COVID. So it's critical to determine where are those employees, if those benefits are still being paid in their domestic or domiciled state, which just for instance is Georgia, is something else to address and to be cognizant of. The last part of that question of become ill during a work-related situation, there's a little bit of a gray area. We'd like to get more information on what ill defined. COVID has not been a covered loss from workers' comp. And the reason is it's no different than the flu or other sickness, is it's very, very difficult to determine where that individual contracted the virus. Was it out in public, or was it in a workforce if they work in a company with 50 employees? So great question. I think the insurance company is still trying to evolve and wrap their head around that. But at the end of the day, if an employee is injured at home, for instance, they fall out of their chair while they're working at a desk, or they may be at a stool in the kitchen, that would be covered, subject to the insurance company reviewing all the facts of what went on in that claim.
I think something that all of you have referenced is the most important thing is education and asking a lot of questions and reaching out to your agents and advisors to find out what is the best for you and what happens in these situations. Because even speaking of remote working, we're not accustomed to that. So it's going to be important for you to touch base with your the experts. So I think that's all the questions that we have over here. I'd like to recognize our North Fulton partners in the seminar series, Roswell Inc. and the Johns Creek Chamber. We appreciate working with both of these organizations and know that we are better together. Kimberly Allred has joined us from Roswell Inc. Kimberly, would you like to say a few words on behalf of Roswell Inc.?
Of course. Thank you, Stacy. We are a longstanding partner with the chamber. Roswell does not have a chamber, so you guys are our chamber. So we really appreciate what you guys do for our business community here in Roswell. I'm our strategic partnerships manager, so it's my job to make sure that I know what's going on with the chamber and that we're partnering to bring better resources to our businesses. So we appreciate all that you guys do, and thank you for the opportunity to partner on this.
Thanks, Kimberly. We also have Laura Houston joining us from the Johns Creek Chamber. Laura, would you like to say a few words?
Yeah. Hi, good morning from the Johns Creek Chamber. Thank you for letting us partner. We really appreciate it. And we are working very hard, as you are, to help our small businesses. And this was a great seminar for that. And I always appreciate having real world examples. It helps me understand it, because I think insurance is very complicated and a little scary. So I do appreciate all of the effort for everybody to come forth and talk about it. So thank you again, and we look forward to more partnerships.
Great. Thank you, Laura. Appreciate it. A lot of our members are also members of the Johns Creek Chamber, so we are always happy to collaborate with Johns Creek and also with Roswell Inc. This has been a great presentation, and I hope that everybody enjoyed it. As I mentioned, this is a recorded presentation, so if you need to go back, we will have that in our ChamberLink e-newsletter today. Gentlemen, we appreciate you taking your time to be with us today. This event was brought to you by our sponsors, AT&T, South State Bank, and CBiz Benefits and Insurance. Our next AT&T Small Business Success Seminar will be on October the 7th and will feature an expert panel discussing cybersecurity. And just for those in the room, that's Cybersecurity 101. So that'll be an introduction to that. For more information, please visit the GNFCC website, gnfcc.com. Thank you for joining us today, and we hope you have a great day. Thanks, everyone.